Look upon ye every man, woman, and everyone as God. You cannot help anyone. You can only serve the children of the world, serve the world Himself if you have the privilege. If the Lord grants that you can help anyone of His children, blessed you are. Do not think too much of yourselves. Blessed you are that the privilege was given to you when others had it not. Do it only as a worship. The poor and the miserable are for our salvation, so that we may serve the Lord, coming in the shape of the deceased, coming in the shape of the lunatic, the leper, and the sinner. The only God to worship is the human soul in the human body. Of course, all animals are temples too, but man is the highest, the Taj Mahal of temples. If I cannot worship in that, no other temple will be of any advantage. Oh, then to devote your whole lives to the cause of the redemption of the 300 millions going down and down every day. Him I call a Mahatman whose heart blessed for the poor. Otherwise he is Dhratman. So long as the millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every man a traitor who, having been educated at their expense, pays not the least heed to them. Do you love your fellow man? Where should you go to seek for God? Are not all poor, the miserable, the weak gods? Why not worship them first? Why go to dig a well on the source for the Gangas? Believe in the omnipotent power of love. Who cares for this tinsel puffs of name? Have you love? You are omnipotent. Are you perfectly unselfish? If so, you are irresistible. It is character that he pays everywhere, gives up jealousy and conceit, learn to work untidily for others. That is the great need of our country. Have patience and be faithful unto death. Do not fight among yourselves. Be perfectly pure in money dealings. So long as you have faith and honesty and devotion, everything will prosper. So long as there is no feeling of disunion amongst you, through the grace of the God, I assure there is no danger for you. Do not open your mind unless you feel it will be positively beneficial. Use agreeable and wholesome language towards even the greatest enemy. Contraction is death. All love is expansion. All selfishness is contraction. Love is therefore the only law of life. He who loves lives. He who is selfish is dying. Therefore, love for love's sake, because it is the only law of life. All the work you do is done for your own salvation, is done for your own benefit. God is not fallen into the ditch for you and me to help him out by building a hospital or something of the sort. He allows you to work not in order to help him, but that you may help yourself. Do you think even an ant will die for want of your help? Most arrogant plasmi, the world does not need you at all. Cut out the world help from your mind. You cannot help. It is blasphemy. You worship. When you give a morsel of food to a dog, you worship the God as a God. Dog as a God. He is all and it is and he is in all. Be thankful that you are allowed to exercise your power of benevolence and mercy in the world and thus become pure and perfect. Be grateful to the man you help. Think of him as God. It is not a great privilege to be allowed to worship God by helping our fellow man. I shall see God is the poor, and it is for my salvation that I go and worship them. The poor and the miserable are for our salvation, so that we say, serve the God, Lord, coming in the shape of the distressed, coming in the shape of the lunatic, the leper, the sinner. Bold are my words, and let me repeat that it's the greatest privilege in our lives that we are allowed to serve the Lord in all these shapes. 100,000 men and women fired with the zeal of holiness, fortified with the eternal faith in the Lord, and nerved to lions' courage by their sympathy for the poor and the fallen and the downtrodden, will go over the length and breadth of the land, preaching the gospel of the salvation, the gospel of help, the gospel of social rising up, the gospel of equality. Verigya, you ancestors have gave up the world for doing great things. At the present time, there are men who present in time, there are men who give up the world to help their own salvation. Throw away everything, even your own salvation, and go and help others. Let all other vain God disappear for the time from our minds. This is the only God that is awake our own race. Everywhere is his hands, everywhere his feet, everywhere is ears. He covers everything. All other gods are sleeping. What vain God shall we go after, and yet cannot worship the God we see all round us, the violet. When we have worshipped this, we shall be able to worship all other gods. Liberation is only for him who gives up everything for others, whereas others who tax their brain day and night, happening on my salvation, wander about with their true well-being, ruin both present and perspective. After so much austerity, I have understood this was the real truth. God is present in every jiva. There is no other God besides that. Who serves jiva serves God indeed. The national ideals of Indian are reunion and service. Intensify her in this channel, and the rest will take care of itself. The banner of the spiritual cannot be raised too high in this country. In it alone is salvation. Those who want to help mankind must take their own pleasure and pain, name and fame, and all sorts of interest, and make a bundle of them and throw them into the sea, and then come to the Lord. This is what all masters said and did. Let me help my fellow man, that is all I seek. If you want any good to come, just throw your ceremonials overboard and worship the living God, the man God, everything being that wears a human form. God in his universal as well as individual aspect. Doing good to others out of compassion is good, but the Shiva of all being, the Spirit of the Lord, is better. Calm and silent and steady work, and no newspaper humbug, no names making. You must always remember this. Go all of you wherever there is an outbreak of plague or famine, or wherever the people are in distress, and mitigate their sufferings. At the most you may die in the attempt. What of that? How many like you are taking birth and dying like worms every day? What difference does that make to the world at large? Die you must, but have a great deal to die for, and it is better to die with a great ideal in life. Preach this ideal from door to door, and you will be ourselves be benefited, and at the same time be doing good to our country. On you lies the future hope of our country. I feel extreme pain to see you are leading a life of inaction. Set yourselves to work. Do not tarry. The time of death is approaching day by day. Do not sit idle thinking that everything will be done in time. Later, mind, nothing will be done. What way? Even the least work done for other awakens the power, and within even thinking of the least least good of others gradually instill into the heart the strength of line. I love you all over so much, but I would wish you all to die working for others. I should be rather glad to see you do that. Leave aside your thoughts of poverty. In what respect are you poor? Do you feel regret because you have not a coach and a pair or a retinue of servants at your beach and hall? What of that? You little know how you can leave nothing undone in life. If you labor day and night for others within your heart's blood, work unto death, I am with you, and when I am gone, my spirit will work with you. This life comes and goes, wealth, fame, enjoyments are only for a few days. It is better to die on the field of the duty, preaching the truth, than to die like a worldly worm at once. Give up jealousy and conceit. Learn to work untidily for others. This is the great need of our country. I have broken to you, young man, this sympathy, this struggle for the poor, the ignorant, the oppressed. Go now, this is a minute to the temple of Parthasarathi, and before him who was friend to the poor and lowly cowherds of Gokula, who never shrank to embrace the fairy Gokul, who accept the invitation of prostitute in preference to that of the nobles and served her in his incarnation as a Buddha, yeah. Down on your face before him and make a great sacrifice, the sacrifice of the whole life for them for whom he comes from time to time, whom he loves above all the poor and lovely and the oppressed. Let us work hard, my brethren. This is no time for sleep. On our work depends the coming of the India of the future. She is there ready, waiting. She is only sleeping. Arise and awake, and see her seated here, and her eternal throne rejuvenated, more glorious than she ever was. This is motherland of ours. He who wants to save Shiva must have his children. Children must serve all creatures in this world first. It is said the Sasas that those who serve the servant of God are his greatest servants. Usefulness is the test of religion. He who has more of this unselfishness is more spiritual and nearer to Shiva. And if a man is selfish, even though he was visited all the temples, seen all the places of pilgrimage, and painted himself like a leopard, he will still further off from Shiva. This is the gist of all worship, to be pure and to do good to others. He who sees Shivas in the poor, in the weak, and in the diseased really worship Shiva, and if sees Shiva only in the image, his worship is but preliminary. He who has served and helped one poor man, seeing Shiva on him without thinking of his caste, creed, or race or anything, with him Shiva is more pleased than with the man who sees him only in temple. What good is it if we acknowledge in our prayers that God is the Father of us all, and is our daily lives to do, rejecting them were seekers though for God, who loves all being without distinction. He indeed is worshipping best is God. The life is short, the vanities of the world are transient, but they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. Great things can be done by great sacrifice only. Everything must be sacrificed if necessary for the one sentiment universality. Go to hell yourself to buy salvation for others. There is no mukti on earth to call my own. Ask nothing, want nothing. Ask nothing, what nothing in return. Give what you have to give, it will come back to you. But do not think of that all now, it will come back multiplied 1,000-fold. But the attention must not be on that. You have the power to give, and there it ends. There is no higher virtue than charity. The lowest man in the world, in whose hand draw in receiving, and is the highest man whose hand goes out in giving. The hand was made to give always. Give the last bit of bread you have. Even if you are starving, you will be perfect. You will become God. You cares for name of with it. If in attempt to carry more morsels of food to starving mouths, names and person and all the doomed, even thrive blessed art though. It is the heart that conquers, not the brain. Books and learning, yoga, meditation and elimination, all are but dust compared to love. Indians want the sacrifice of at least the 1,000 of our young men and not brutes. The essential thing is reunion. The essential thing is reunification. Without reunification, none can pour out this whole heart in working for others. The man for reunite sees all with on equal eye. Why, when do you cherish the idea that the wife and children are your own more than others? Are you very threshold? Narayana himself in the form of poor beggar is dying of starvation. Instead of giving him anything, would you only satisfy the appetites of your wife and children which delicates? Why that is bristly? We have to bear in mind that we are all deporters to the world, and the world does not own us anything. It is great privileges for all of us to be allowed to do anything for the world. In helping the world, we really help ourselves. Do not starve on a high pedestal and take 5 cents in your hands and say, "Here, my poor man," but be grateful that your poor man is there to, so that by making a gift to him, you are able to help yourself. It is not the receiver that is blessed, but it is the giver. In the world, take always the position of giver. Give everything and look for no return. Give love, give help, give service, give any little thing you can. Make no conditions and none be imposed. Let us give out our own boundary, just as God gave to us. Love never fails, my son, today or tomorrow or ages. After truth will conquer, love shall win the victory. Do you love your fellow man? I do not care for liberation. I would rather go to 100,000 hells, doing good to others like the spring. This is my religion.